Alright folks, hello and welcome back to Downstage Gaming. I'm your host Josh, and this is part 18 of our B-Sides Let's Play of The Letter. When we last left off with Mr. Ash, we finished our little BRC heist, we got the information that we needed from there, and then we just sort of had a long bit the next morning of like, hey, we need to get our friends together. We tried to get Zach and Rebecca. Initially couldn't reach them, but now we've gotten in touch with Zach. Zach is on his way over, and we'll probably be in touch with Rebecca pretty shortly. But for now, we've decided to snoop into Isabella's room and see if there's sort of any evidence that she might have here. Despite her aunt having brought most of her personal stuff to the hospital, her room's still a mess of things she has accumulated over the years. Why she hasn't thrown away one of her 7 noodle cups, I don't know. Papers, instant noodle cups, photographs, and posters all over the room. No matter where you look at this place simply has Isabella written in it. Just 5 years and she's left this big a mark in our lives. I'd be lying if I say her presence didn't change a lot of things. In Zach, in Rebecca, in me. However, there's no time to reminisce about all this. As nice and nostalgic as those memories are, there's work to do. Things to find, if there's even any in here. I won't know that by simply standing here, acting nostalgic. Wasting no time, I head straight for her study table, where a chaos of papers and folders clutter the top. There are instant noodle cups still, plus a few empty pens and crumpled paper littering the table. All points of interest in the room, but my focus veers on the laptop first. No malice intended, I'm simply looking for work files. Besides, I doubt she has anything to hide, and oh no, it's porn. And if it still means anything, that's exactly why Isabella has always worn her heart on her sleeve. Genuine, uninhibited, open, free. While it has often gotten her into all sorts of trouble, her candidness, that wholehearted look she has always displayed and carried with her, are things I will never have a reason to doubt. Others will say it's her warmth that draws people to her, or her cheer. Neither are wrong, but neither is the whole truth to her either. Because those who have never bothered to look beyond the surface will never see it. See her. See someone earnest. Someone who has always meant well, albeit her underlying stubbornness. See how she loves. An affection that is altogether both warm, steadfast, and unflinching. In many ways, for a lot of reasons, she's the kind of person I want to be around with. Who made me feel I'm still worth something. You never meet many people like that, not in my line of work. Always with something to hide, always with something to lie about. Eventually, when you meet too many of them, you change too. You become like them. Perhaps the biggest thing I regret about this is I never had the chance to change that before she... Laptop finally boots up and loads the operating system, although as soon as it does, I am greeted by her password screen. For a few minutes, I try my hand at a couple of obvious ones she might use. Ashton rules, Ash is sexy, but they just don't work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, password 1, QWERTY, admin, cinnamon rolls, none of it works.
At least she knows how to use the most common ones.
Is cinnamon rolls really a most common one? This adds a new layer of problem, though. Knowing her, she must have written it somewhere. Not in the mess of papers here, but someplace she can quickly check. It's probably something she'll bring with her. Not necessarily a diary, but close to one. I've noticed one on her person several times before. Never saw its contents, but I've seen her write regularly on them, while waiting for a meal in a restaurant or during lulls in a conversation. I just hope she's left where she's written her password somewhere here. It's the drawers I start with, and the bottom one. It takes a while going through the pile in each of the 3 layers, the bottom 2 yielding nothing but old records she's been keeping. The third one, though, yields one closer to what I'm looking for. All of the pages has already been filled. I get the feeling we're going to see something in here that maybe we shouldn't.
Probably why she dumped it here.
Carefully flipping through each reveals notes from a meeting with a client. Sometimes there are doodles at the edge of the pages, others taking up an entire spread. All old ones, and nothing of use to me right now, but on the last page, on a sheet folded in half, opening it reveals a doodle of the 3 of us, Zach, Rebecca, and me, from how we looked about 4 or 5 years ago, give or take. I'm looking at everything here now. Japan, Bermuda Triangle, Korea, this places she wants to travel to, probably. Clients, clients, clients! Eat, noodle, sleep. That's the way to go. Does this say gang? Oh, no, it says gang. That's right. It's the name of the developer. Alright. And then obviously this must be the password. At the bottom, the words scrawled in neat script after a few telling erasures. 707 Devlin 2011. Despite myself and how dismal everything's going at present, a laughter slips from my lips, uninhibited and without care for who might hear. 707 Devlin Court. I remember handling that case from 5 years ago. Oh, so this is the thing that brought them all together. He even got a recommendation from Inspector Abigail and a promotion to Detective Sergeant after wrapping it up. Some morbid case of a dead husband being stuffed in a sofa by his own wife, and at the heart of it, Isabella. Fresh off the boat, selling the first property assigned to her. Some sick sense of humor the universe must have, huh? Though in hindsight, if all that shit didn't happen, the four of us won't even be together. I wouldn't have met her. And yet, in the end, I can't even tell her. Instead, choosing to hide between teasing words and friendly jibes because I'm a coward who can't even convey his feelings properly, who can't even face the person he's become. Granted, it's not yet too late for her. She may still recover, but now there's only regret.
A badge, a gun, and I can't even protect my own friends.
To other people, these may just be a series of letters, but to us, to the people pictured on this page, they mean a whole different thing. Apparently, it also means a great deal to her, one sentiment that goes far beyond some sense of nostalgia. Enough to also use it as the password for her own laptop. True enough, it works, and soon I have access on all of her work files. Nothing significant, though. Alright, let's take a look at this memory. Aw. Cute. Nothing I haven't already found last night. Perhaps the most noteworthy out of everything is the log she's left, that night. She has taken note of every client who attended the open house and worked on the mansion, even the outside contractors. Although for what purpose, I have no idea. Should I have also looked into those last night? They didn't seem that important, though. If anything, I'll get more looking into desks of those employees than some random people. Adding these clients to my list would only broaden my scope. But what if Isabella's onto something here with the letter? Shit. There's no more room for regret, however. All of a sudden, a knock breaks the moment, just as fast as my attention shifts towards the source. Before I can even wallow in my mistakes, I hastily put everything back together, turn off Isabella's laptop, and open the door. Hopefully, I'll be greeted by some good news this time. It's Zach. Come on, we gotta know. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I step out of the room and accept the call, the stone that has been stuck in my stomach simultaneously lodges itself up my throat. There, in the hallway, stands Zach, his hand raised, ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in.
You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca?
Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet.
So, nothing's wrong? Why'd you call me here for this?
I'm really lonely, Zach. Please.
And what are you even doing here? You know Bella wouldn't be happy you're snooping around here. It's still hers.
My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Ansem alone for some godforsaken reason warrants a proper one. Ghosts or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end this might be the plan he mentioned last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hannah, right? Somehow they become friends, but that's not the issue here. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might go after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made it here in one piece. By some dumb luck, he's alright, and this takes one off the list of people I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in that exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. Though, first things first, some things still need to be discussed. Well, obviously I'm gonna say, you're okay. I'm not gonna insult the man. Except when I open my mouth, the only thing that spills from it is my own relief. Of course. Despite myself, despite the rational part of my brain screaming everything wrong about Zach's neat little plan, we've had so many close calls with just a single night. Zach showing up in Isabella's doorstep, alive, whole, and unharmed. I might as well take comfort in that while I still can.
You're okay.
You did tell me not to do anything stupid.
Suddenly, the whole room feels too heavy, and all I'm able to do is drop down on the couch. A headache also threatens to burst in the same moment, or perhaps this is what release from anxiety feels like? Regardless, I reach up a hand to pinch the bridge of my nose, even if it'll likely do nothing to alleviate the impending pain.
Christ, you were right there! We have this stupid curse thing going
I
on.
hate this
and you were
curse!
right there! You just walked up inside a private property! Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering, and that's the least of it.
I get that, like, this is gonna be a slight change before this happens, but, like, it does bother me that he's so angry about this when he's literally, Ashton is about to do the exact same thing.
I know, Ash. But I can't just leave things as they are. I've got to do something. I know you're not very fond of the Rights, but they don't deserve it if something bad happens.
Luke probably does.
Hannah most of all.
God damn it, Zach, I was worried.
Unexpectedly, he laughs. Not the half-hearted sort he makes when he's awkward or coming up with an excuse. A genuine one. Before my annoyance grows again, I snap at him, though he suddenly catches me in a headlock. His arms looping around my neck while he grinds his knuckles against my skull. Zach, stop bullying me. Helpless, I squirm under his grip in protest. Even then, it's hard to do so when you're up against a 6-footer.
Zach!
Aw, he's worried. Why didn't you say so? That cool act ain't gonna fool me anymore.
There you go.
Go!
He relents soon enough, though only after he's done ample damage to my hair. I hate it when he does that. But for a few moments there, the tense mood finally lightened up, and everything felt like how it used to be before this whole mess began. Makes appreciating little moments like this easier. Still.
Seriously, Zach. Why are you even there?
Told you already. I was looking for you.
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned the plan. I assume that's where you went since that's where Isabella found the letter.
Sorry. I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me into silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the tone he's taken before agreeing to go here, and all at once my anger from what he's done wanes. Get him. Partly, this is my fault for keeping things vague. I can't berate him for assuming that, when I've only left him with vague answers. Thank you. Very
You could have
true.
called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me.
You're kidding, right? I was at it the whole night.
The whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the tension-riddled one plaguing us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown another head, the expression in his eyes questioning, asking for a confirmation, like my word can't be trusted. Not that I'm holding it against him, I can't even believe the things coming out of my mouth these past 2 hours.
Please tell me you're joking.
You can check my phone logs if you want. I really didn't get any, but do it later. It's more important that you hear what happened at BRC last night.
I met this guy named Seb, and he's just a great guy. I just love him.
Zach, just as I was about to leave, I saw...
Sup, Bob Ash from the
Oh yeah,
Baggers, watch out, can't beat me.
been too
Looking
long.
for trouble? Better not lie. I'm a cool dude, pretty fly for an Asian guy.
I never get to finish that. Abruptly, my phone rings again, blaring its badly sang ringtone throughout the whole room. Why I don't change it, I'll never know. Zach pauses, waiting when I pull it up to check the caller ID.
It's Becca. I'll tell her to get here as soon as she can. Excuse me.
Without another word, I slip out of the room and answer the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet? Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library.
Listen, Ash, that thing Isabella told us about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salem Well. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is... related to that.
You're there?
Yeah, Zach too.
We're all just hanging out in Isabella's room, without her permission. With a quick press of the button, I switch on the loudspeakers and step back into Isabella's apartment. I hold out the phone toward him, giving it 2 shakes, urging him to speak. He's still carrying a worried look on his face. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you.
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we having, eh?
Hey, Zachary. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here. The second she steps in the room, apologies spill out of her mouth first.
I'm sorry, Ash. Were you two waiting long?
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
The gang's back together, minus Isabella. Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole. Alive. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute she closes the door, she winces. A small reaction. Zack doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for a careful observation, nevertheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual. Hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has once she leads herself into the room. It all sprouts a hatful of questions, a whole hat. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. I grab her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her in case there really is an injury. She seems like at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact, but it's only because she's hugely attracted to me. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her to a halt. She turns to me, her eyes searching mine for answers, and doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact someone has brought it to light. But that someone also has to make sure. Are you alright? Oh, again, of course. The important thing is, are you okay? Not, oh god, don't tell me you did something dangerous.
You okay? You're limping.
Yeah. As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force, she almost stumbles back if Zack has not caught her by her elbow. Even with another person shooting her concerned look, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Little accident. Hard to believe when her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm. Zack doesn't appear to buy any of it either.
Really? In a library? Don't they have some sort of safety protocols there, like reminders and those kinds of stuff?
Listen, I was running, and everyone knows you're not supposed to be running in the library. It was my fault.
Well, yeah. It kinda caught me off guard.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly, she goes very still, and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Wearily, she casts a glance at everyone in the room. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house. Every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then, after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve, raises it just enough for us to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
So I tell her, Rebecca, that looks disgusting.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
Is it the woman you mentioned? The one you said was sitting in the back of your car?
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Ash, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
Well, have we tried?
Laugh it up, Ashton, I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. You were both very close to death, really. Okay. Dead. How many more close calls do we have to go through? How many deaths do we have to witness? How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this, losing people important to them one by one right in front of them. I've already come close to losing Isabella. I'm not losing Zack and Rebecca too.
Let's leave these issues for now. There are some things, a lot of things, you guys need to know.
Finally.
Well, if this is gonna be long, you better get a quick remedy for that arm. Let me fetch you one.
That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Zach returns and hands Rebecca the remedy he promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Zach's encounters with the woman in his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she brings out in even the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be, logic be damned. Or at least, that's what I would like to believe. Yet, even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon and eventually night, none of this still makes fucking damn sense. Darkness is swollen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we've even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. Alright, curious to see just where we are in the branch now. Okay. I wonder if... Okay, we are about to come back to something we've seen. I wonder if we're still going to get the scare of the cabinet here like we did last time. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Chill, Ash. You're the one who picked out these files. What are we supposed to be looking for here?
I don't know.
Pattern. Something that might hint a way out of this. The guys from BRC have probably also read that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of
I
us.
just don't believe that that's true. I don't know. Maybe I am wrong about that.
Very funny, Z-Man.
Love
Anyway, like I said, these guys from BRC have probably also read that dumb paper. They've been working on the mansion before the open house, but Isabella found it during.
Shouldn't we look into the mansion too? That's where the letter came from. That's where she came from.
Good point.
And maybe it's just as the professor says. There might be more to this than what we're thinking on the surface. Don't know, just a thought. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Sighing, I reach for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspect the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city had been founded. Just a typical newsprint, but my eyes do linger at the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Any ideas why they're keeping this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at my inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded.
I mean, the assumption that I would have is that you have your either Charlotte or Charlotte's family as, like, you know, the people in this town that's very powerful, and they wanted to hide the truth, so to speak. I mean, it's clear that Charlotte is not who she was painted as in most of the history that this town knows, and that she'd done a lot of cruel things that she probably wanted to hide, but I don't know how that relates yet exactly to Takako.
As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would they tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. But how does the mansion equate into all this? How does the letter Isabella found us? Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? If I'm going to go by what Andrew told Zach, the connection between the letter and the mansion's curse may run deeper than what we've initially thought. That stupid paper might be at the heart of this for some reason, and we won't be able to figure this out without looking into the other. Fuck. How do I? The mansion's private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We are not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us, like she almost did with Isabella. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting.
We've been at this for hours. We should take a break for a few...
But I won't let you have a break. The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds at the far end of the room. A harsh, booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the two of them are on their feet while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden rush, the three of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
I don't like the sound of that. At all.
Gather everything.
No questions asked, they waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. But before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension, already gripping the place. Suddenly, the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward, and I release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. You kind of seem like it. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, I have everything. What are you doing?
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they both are, they immediately stop at the slight raise in my hand. But the edge is there while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. A glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost, no woman, not a single trace of whatever, whoever is inside. Check the bed! Confused, I glance back towards Zach and Rebecca, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. You two, we need to...
I sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision, and then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just inexperience. Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me. I'll say the look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton, snap out of it!
No. I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. With the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach, and leading the two of them out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them. In a short while, I'm driving us out of Selimwell. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Alright, and here we are. Basically the final day now. Well, we are going to have to continue on with Ashton's journey with back with his friends now, next time. Until then, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will catch you all next time.